I give, that is all for you. My heart's no good, 'cause it's split in two.
G'day guys, my name is Dave and welcome to another Guitar Zero to Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play Arms by the Paper Kites, which is a beautiful acoustic track that has a really nice fingerpicking pattern. In this lesson, I'll teach you all the fingerpicking, but I'll also teach you the lead guitar parts as well. Now, if you want to master your chords back to front, then be sure to head over to guitarzerotohero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Or if you want to improve on your guitar and your fingerpicking, then check out GZ2H Premium, which is my complete step-by-step guitar course. For the basics of this song, you'll need your guitar and standard tuning, and you will need a capo on the 2nd fret of your guitar. Let's jump into the lesson. So let's start with the intro/break, which is a beautiful fingerpicking melody. Now, there's just one line of tab here, so there's not a whole lot to learn. Now, for our fingerpicking basics, your thumb will take care of the 6th, 5th, and 4th strings, and your index, middle, and ring finger will take care of the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings respectively. Ideally, they shouldn't pluck any other strings other than the ones they're being assigned to. There is one exception to this, but I'll get to that later. We're going to start with the C chord. Now let's break this up into chunks of 4 notes. So we're going to start with the bass note, then 3rd, 4th, and 2nd. So those 4 notes. And then we're going to play a C sus2 chord. So you just lift your middle finger. Now for this next chunk of notes, you're going to start with your thumb on the 4th string, hit the open 3rd string with your index finger, but then you'll hit the open 3rd string again with your thumb. So this is the one instance where you can actually take your thumb down to hit one of the higher strings. So you'll be plucking that 3rd string twice effectively, once with your index and then once with your thumb. And then with your middle finger, hit the 2nd string. So those 4 notes. And then for our next group of notes, you'll hit the open 4th string and hammer your middle finger back into place. Now don't make that a super quick hammer on like that. It needs to be in time. And then the 3rd and 2nd strings. So that group of notes. And then for the next group of 4 notes, we're going bass note, 3rd string, and then you'll take your pinky finger and put it onto the 3rd fret of the 4th string. So it's a C sus4, and you're plucking the 4th and 2nd strings. So that group of 4 notes. So you should only put your pinky finger down when you're going to pluck that note. It should remain a C chord up until the point that we put that pinky down. Like that. And we put all that together, and this is the first bar. And then we're going to get into an F chord shape. So from this C sus4 position, just put your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and your thumb will reach over the top to hit the 1st fret of the 6th string. We're going to play a simple picking pattern that goes 6th, 3rd, 4th, and 2nd strings. And that 4-note pattern is done twice. And then we go back to our C chord, and you're just going to hit the bass note and hold that out until the end. We have 2 quick notes, which is just the 4th and 3rd strings of our C chord. So the 2nd bar. And we put that all together, and the intro/break sounds like this. That's at a slow speed, and I recommend you start practicing at slow speed and then work your way up to full speed, which sounds a little more like this. Next we get to verse part 1. Now the first line of tab in verse part 1 is very similar to what we had in the intro, except when we get to the C chord at the end, we're just going to continue on that 4-note finger picking pattern that goes bass note, 3rd string, 4th string, and 2nd string. I'm going to play that twice for the C chord. So in essence, that first line of tab is very similar to the intro. So in total. Now for the second line of tab, we're going to go to a lazy G chord. So just put your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. We're going to play that typical 4-note picking pattern that goes bass note, 3rd, 4th, and 2nd string. So we're going to play that 4 times. But the very last time, just before you hit the 2nd string, you're going to put your index finger down on the 1st fret to hit that note. So in total for this G chord. And then for our second bar, it's identical to the second bar in the first line of tab. So that F for 2 picking patterns and the C for 2 picking patterns. So in total for verse part 1. Next we get to verse part 2, and it's really simple because it's very similar to verse part 1 with the exception of the final bar. So instead of going to the F and the C after the G chord, we're just going to a C chord, and we're going to play this for one of our picking patterns. And then you're going to hit the open 4th string and hammer your middle finger into place, 2nd and 3rd strings, and then end with the bass note. So the final bar. And the final line of tab. So that's it for verse part 2. Next we get to the chorus, which is pretty simple. So we're going to start with this F chord, and we're going to play this for 2 of our typical 4-note picking patterns. So the bass note, 3rd, 4th, and 2nd. That 4-note picking pattern twice. And then we go to our C for 2 picking patterns. And then we go back to our F for 2 picking patterns. And then we go to an A minor 7. So it's the same as a C, but with your ring finger lifted. We're going to play this for 8 picking patterns. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for our third line of tab, we go back to the F for 2 picking patterns, A minor for 2 picking patterns, and back to our F for 2 picking patterns, and then end on the bass note. So the chorus is actually quite simple, and it sounds like this in total. And those are all the fingerpicking parts you need to learn. There's not a lot to learn really. It's just the intro / break riff, the verse, and the chorus. And the whole song is just comprised of those parts. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the lead guitar lines. Now all the tones that you hear are recorded using the Boss Katana 50 Mark II. But in terms of tone, I'm basically just using a Strat here with the neck pickup, and I've got a clean channel with a little bit of blues overdrive, a lot of reverb, and a tiny bit of delay. So let's start with the break lead, and there's just 2 lines of tab here, really simple. Now we're playing this without a capo, but if you did have a capo on the 2nd fret because you were doing the finger picking, then it doesn't really matter because all the notes that we're going to be playing are above that capo anyway, and there's no open notes. So you could just leave the capo on and play the global frets that are indicated here on the tab. We're going to start with our index finger on 3rd fret of the 2nd string and middle finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string. Now we're going to pluck these two notes together, and then you're going to slide your middle finger up 1 fret to the 5th fret, and your ring finger plays the 5th fret of the 2nd string. And then you're going to pluck that again, but slide it up 2 frets to the 7th. And then we go back to our original position. So that's the first bar, and each note is played on a quarter note. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then for the next bar, we take this exact same shape and we slide it up to 8th and 9th frets. Hold it out for 2 beats, and then play this 7th fret shape for 2 beats. So the first line of tab. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. For the second line of tab, our first bar is identical to the first line of tab. For the second bar, we're going to play this shape. So it's a little bit of a variation from our first shape. Our ring finger comes onto the 5th fret of the 4th string. We're going to pinch that, hold it out for 2 beats, and then go back to our original position for 2 beats. And that's it for the break lead, which sounds like this in total. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and... Next we get to the solo, and there's 4 lines of tab here. Now for the first 2 lines of tab, it's basically identical to the break riff, except in the last bar we're going to add some lead-in notes here. So the first 2 lines of tab we've already learnt, but the lead-in notes that start the main part of the solo are 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and we hammer on to the 5th fret, like that. Then we get to the 3rd line of tab, and you're going to hit this 5th fret and slide up to 7th, down to 5th, back down to 3rd, then pluck the 5th fret and slide it up to 7th, and then 5th fret of the 1st string, and so far. For the next bar, you can hit the 5th fret and slide it up to 7th, back down to 5th and hit that, and then for this next bar, hit the 5th fret of the 2nd string with your ring finger and slide up to the 7th, and then hold that note out. And so far. And then for this final line of tab, we're going to start with that hammer on from 3rd to 5th again on the 2nd string. And then you're going to hit the 5th fret and slide up to the 7th fret, down to 5th, down to 3rd, back up to 5th fret, hit that 5th fret again and slide up to 7th, down to 3rd, hit that twice, and then we end with the 4th fret of the 3rd string. And that's it for the solo, which sounds like this in total. And then you play another break lead, and that takes us to the final chorus. And those are all the lead parts you need to learn. So now I'll be doing a full playthrough of the song, and I'll have a vocal track on top for some context. Big thanks to my friend Eric for lending his awesome vocals to this playthrough. Feel free to play this back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go.
What can I give that is
Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here. Or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitarzerotohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.